So, before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that many of you are alarmed and feeling concerned. We did have an emergency situation. One of the participants needed immediate medical assistance. Thankfully, we did have medical staff on standby, and we've just been informed that our participant is in stable condition and on his way to the hospital. Our prayers and thoughts are with the participant, and we hope that he feels better very soon and will be able to join us again very soon as well. We will keep you posted on the situation. So, without further ado, I would like to move on to the high-level panel, Urban Tourism in 2030. During this session, we not only have English simultaneous interpretation, but we also have Russian. So for those of you who need Russian interpretation, please turn to channel 3 on your receivers, and for English, it is channel 2 on your receivers. The high-level panel, Urban Tourism in 2030, will be moderated by Mr. Rajan DATAR. He is an award-winning BBC broadcaster moderator, features writing, and has a career spanning 3 decades reporting and presenting for the BBC. So please join me in welcoming the moderator, the host of the BBC travel show, Mr. Rajan DATAR, to the stage with a warm round of applause.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. Just firstly, can I echo the sentiments made there? We do wish a speedy recovery to the participant. Okay. Can I just say, first of all, it's a great honor for me to be invited here by the UNWTO and the city of Seoul. My BBC colleagues who are also here, I know, are also delighted to be present. And I'm delighted to be joined on this panel by ministers and mayors, tourism chiefs, and experts on urban development the world over. This aims to be a lively, punchy discussion on urban tourism in light of rapid change and new trends, and in the context of the UN's Habitat 3, the new urban agenda. Now, just briefly, I've got to say, urban tourism is a passion of mine, and I wonder maybe it's because if I was brought up in the suburbs of London, and you always have this amazing feeling about the big city, the magic lights, the mystery. And I've always retained that. But when it comes to actually realizing what urban tourism can do, I think the epiphany moment for me was when I was in Medellin in Colombia a few years ago. And this is post-Escobar, post the horrible tyranny that man had over the city. And they realized that if they brought amazing buildings, amazing architecture to that city, and created a cable car that took people from the ghettos and the hills into the town center, they could create a place that was great for residents and great for tourists alike. And I think that, for me, made me realize, yes, urban tourism can be a win-win situation. We are going to look at the potential issues, but I think, for me, as I say, there is a lot of potential here. And to show how passionate people are here, and people and ministers from around the world are here, about this issue, we have on the panel not 5, not 10, but 14 people behind me. Now, if this was a TV program, it would be quite hard to handle, I must admit. But what we're going to do is kind of make it really quick, really get to the point, and hopefully, as I say, have a lively discussion. Okay, so let me, in that case, introduce onto the stage. Their names are up there, so I'm just going to rifle through their positions. Can I please welcome on stage, and please give your applause to the Minister of Tourism in Greece. The Minister of Environment and Tourism from Mongolia. The Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture from Malaysia. The Vice Minister of Tourism Sports from Thailand, the Mayor of Dubrovnik in Croatia, the Vice Mayor for Administrative Affairs of Seoul Metropolitan Government in Korea, South Korea, the Deputy Mayor of Paris in France, the Vice Mayor of Nice in France, the Deputy Mayor of Astana in Kazakhstan, the Vice Mayor of Kazan in the Russian Federation, the CEO of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, the Deputy Secretary General of the World Tourism Cities Federation, the Executive Director of the World Tourism Organization, of course, our hosts, and last but not least, the Director of the Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific, UN Habitat. Welcome to you all. Thanks for coming. Before we start, I want to say, well, one thing actually, which is that this is my third time to Seoul. And what I love about this place is that it mixes the tech. Everyone knows about the high tech, but there's also amazing history here as well. And it manages to combine that, I think, really successfully. Colleagues from the media world of mine went on a tour yesterday, and they were raving about the oil depot that's turned into a cultural park. So I suggest those of you who haven't been there, go along and see that. But first of all, before we start, before we start with the panel discussion, it gives me great pleasure to ask the Vice Mayor of Seoul, Mr. Yoon, to set the scene from the podium. Thank you. Thanks.
Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Seoul. 안녕하십니까. 서울시 부시장 윤준병입니다. 제7차 세계도시 관광총회 참석을 위해 세계 각국에서 오신 여러분들을 진심으로 환영합니다. 먼저 준비한 영상을 함께 보신 후 도시 관광에 대해서 이 얘기를 풀어가도록 하겠습니다.
Many people enjoy their travels on planes and on cruise ships when you're at work, having a meal, or in bed. Especially, people flock to cities like Paris, London, Beijing, and Barcelona, since those places have convenient touring infrastructures for accommodations, food, shopping, and entertainment, along with outstanding accessibilities. As you can see from this, the global tourism market has been continuously growing around cities. The tourism industry now takes 10.4% of global GDP, and 1 out of 10 jobs in this world is created from tourism-related fields. We have to focus on the fact that most of this growth comes from city tourism. The tourism industry is now the most adequate alternative in this era of low growth. Now, we need to see whether the global tourism market will continue to grow and how city tourism could be more vitalized. The global tourism market's sustainable growth is being threatened by political, environmental, and social factors. Wars among countries, civil wars, and terror attacks are threatening the growth of the tourism industry, not to mention tourist safety as well. Also, diseases that threaten the world and natural disasters, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, and hail, are factors that hinder the tourism industry. However, there are problems caused by way too many tourists as well. Representatively, overtourism, which is when tourists outnumber a certain tour site's capacity and violate its residents' privacies, is one of those problems. Protests are held in Venice in Italy and Barcelona in Spain against accommodating tourists, and the same thing is happening at Hanok village in Seoul as well. This is all due to problems caused by visitors that outnumber the site's actual residents, such as noise, trash, and privacy violations. The tourism industry has been improving along with industrial revolutions for centuries. Every minute, the tourism industry is changing. The tourism environment will change at a faster pace in the future. And it is our work to figure out how the tourism industry should be established. In Korea, consuming patterns for tourism and leisure are being changed by its demographic cliff and work and life balance. The fourth industrial revolution is changing the paradigm of the tourism industry. The future tourism industry will be growing based on mobile technologies. The factory without chimney, the invisible trade, the tourism industry aims at people all around the world. How will the global tourism market continue to grow, dealing with the factors that threaten its continuous growth and changes of the future environment? Which actions should we take to respond in the situation?
네, 여러분, 앞서 영상에서 문제 제기한 것처럼 세계 관광 시장이 여러 가지 위험 요인을 극복하면서 앞으로도 지속 성장을 계속해야만 되겠죠. 어떻게 해야 할까요? 여러분들도 아마 고민하고 계실 겁니다. 서울시도 관광의 지속 가능성에 대해 오랫동안 고민해왔고 그 해결을 위해 세 가지 기조를 축으로 다양한 모색을 하고 있습니다. 관광 시민, 재생, 그리고 거버넌스입니다. 먼저 관광 시민에 대해 이야기하겠습니다. 저는 방문객을 국내 거주자와 동등하게 보고 거주자와 방문객 모두를 동등하게 합쳐서 관광 시민으로 규정하고자 합니다. 서울은 거주자 1,000만 명에 외래 관광객 1,300만 명이 더해진 약 2,300만 명의 관광 시민이 존재하며 이들을 위한 도시 계획 및 관광 정책을 추진하고 있습니다. 언어, 성별, 장애, 연령뿐만 아니라 국적에 관계없이 관광 시민 누구나 편안하게 여행을 즐길 수 있는 환경을 만드는 것이 이것이 바로 서울 관광의 첫 번째 목표입니다. 서울시는 관광 시민의 신체 제약이 여행 제약으로 이어지지 않고 누구나 행복하게 서울에서 여행을 즐길 수 있는 환경을 만드는 데 힘을 쏟고 있습니다. 먼저 인프라 측면에서는 숙박시설과 음식점 등 관광시설에 대한 접근성을 개선하고 무장애 관광 코스를 개발하는 등 다양한 사업을 추진하고 있습니다. 또한 정보 및 서비스 측면에서는 금년 4월부터 서울 다누림 관광센터를 개설하여 관광 약자를 위한 상담, 예약, 안내 등 원스톱 서비스를 제공하고 있습니다. 융복합으로 대변되는 4차 산업혁명 시대, 기술 발전, 특히 모바일 발전은 관광 시민의 여행 패턴들을 변화시키고 있습니다. 이제 우리는 관광정보 습득, 여행 설계, 관광상품 구매 등 여행의 전 과정에 모바일 기기를 활용하고 있습니다. ICT 선도 도시인 서울시는 관광 스타트업과 협력을 통해 스마트 관광 환경을 만들어가고 있습니다. 특히 외국인 관광객의 언어 불편 해소를 위해 모바일 다국어 메뉴판과 스마트 관광 안내 표지판 설치는 물론 모바일을 활용한 관광 패스와 게임 형식의 체험 관광 프로그램도 도입하고 있습니다. 관광객의 증가는 지역 경제 활성화에 도움을 주지만 다른 한편으로는 지역 주민의 불편을 초래하고 있습니다. 앞서 영상에서 보신 것처럼 오버투어리즘의 문제는 이제 세계 어디서나 발생하는 일반적인 현상이 되어가고 있습니다. 서울시는 이러한 오버투어리즘 문제에 대응하기 위해 2016년부터 공정관광국제포럼을 개최하여 지속적으로 해법을 모색해 왔습니다. 특히 금년 7월부터는 북촌 한옥마을에 방문 허용시간 제한과 가이드 동반 의무제 등을 실시해 지역 주민의 일상생활을 보호하고자 노력하고 있습니다. 다음으로 제시하고자 하는 도시 관광의 지속 가능성에 대한 해법은 바로 재생입니다. 서울은 2000년이라는 오랜 역사를 가진 만큼 수많은 문화적 자산을 보호하고 있는 반면에 신규 관광단지 개발에는 여러 가지 측면에서 한계가 있습니다. 따라서 도시가 지닌 역사, 문화, 사회적 자산의 가치를 재발견하고 활용하는 재생을 도시 관광정책의 기본 기조로 적용하고 있습니다. 재생은 도시의 역사, 문화적 특성을 살려 진정한 가치를 보여줄 수 있기 때문입니다. 몇 가지 재생 사례를 소개해 드리겠습니다. 지금 보시는 곳은 1970년대 산업화의 상징이었던 서울역 고가도로입니다. 서울시는 세월이 흐르면서 낙후된 고가도로를 철거하지 않고 2년간의 보수공사를 거쳐 지난해 5월 시민의 보행길로 재탄생시켰습니다. 지난 1년간 1000만 명 이상이 방문하였으며 이제는 관광 시민의 필수 관광 코스로 자리 잡았습니다. 이곳은 석유 파동에 대비해 1970년대에 설치했던 석유 비축기지입니다. 서울시는 이 오랜 시설을 공연장과 전시장, 고육시설을 갖춘 문화공간으로 재정비해 41년 만에 시민의 공간으로 돌려드렸습니다. 이곳에선 다양한 공연과 이벤트, 전시회는 물론 밤에 나타났다 아침에 사라지는 서울의 명물인 밤도깨비 야시장이 열리고 있습니다. 내일 오후 도시재생 투어 프로그램에 참여하여 꼭 한번 방문해 주시기 바랍니다. 또 이곳은 1939년부터 72년간 운행해오다 2010년 기차 운행이 중단되면서 방치됐던 경춘선 폐철길입니다. 2013년부터 세 차례에 걸쳐 총 5.6km 구간에 철길의 흔적을 살려 숲길을 조성함으로써 시민과 관광객의 휴식 공간으로 새롭게 탄생했습니다. 과거의 철길 모습을 통해 추억과 향수를 떠올리게 하여 관광 시민들에게 많은 사랑을 받고 있습니다. 세계 어느 나라의 명소와 견주어도 손색이 없을 만큼 매력적인 이곳은 100년 된 한옥과 예술가들의 가게가 어우러진 익선동 골목길입니다. 유서 깊은 골목길에 젊은 예술가들의 관심과 열정이 더해지면서 애스러운 공간과 현대적 콘텐츠가 조화를 이루는 매력적인 공간으로 재탄생하였습니다. 신비로운 매력을 지닌 이곳은 서울의 대표적인 핫플레이스로 자리 잡았습니다. 서울시가 원형을 보존하고 그 가치를 재발견하려는 노력은 무형의 유산에도 미치고 있습니다. 한국을 방문하는 동안에 한국의 전통주를 만들고 2012년 유네스코 인류 무형 문화재산으로 등재된 김치 담그기를 체험하고 태권도를 배워보는 것은 어떨까요? 서울시는 현지 문화체험을 원하는 관광객의 요구에 부응하기 위해 다도체험, 한복체험, K-팝 체험 등 서울만의 특별한 체험 콘텐츠를 관광상품으로 개발하고 있습니다. 다양한 체험 프로그램이 마련되어 있으니 이번 기회에 꼭 한번 체험해 보시기 바랍니다. 마지막으로 거버넌스입니다. 지속 가능한 관광은 국내 도시는 물론 국제 도시 간 긴밀한 교류와 협력을 통해 담보될 수 있습니다. 서울시는 대한민국의 대표 도시로서 외국 관광객이 서울뿐만 아니라 지방의 독특한 콘텐츠까지 한국 문화를 제대로 체험할 수 있도록 상생 관광 거버넌스를 구축해 나갈 것입니다. 또한 2020년 도쿄올림픽, 2022년 베이징 동계올림픽과 연계해 먼 곳에서 방문하는 관광객이 서울도 방문해 아시아의 문화를 체험할 수 있는 연계 상품을 개발하기 위해 중국, 일본의 주요 도시와 긴밀한 협력 체계를 구축해 나갈 것입니다. 오늘과 내일 이틀에 걸쳐 관광 경쟁력, 4차 산업혁명, 도시 재생, 공정관광 등에 대해 4개의 세션이 진행됩니다. 각각의 주제에 대해 내실 있는 논의와 더불어 도시간 우수 정책 사례 등 많은 정보를 공유할 수 있기를 바랍니다. 아울러 앞으로도 세계 관광도시가 함께 모여 도시 관광 발전을 논의하는 기회가 더욱 많이 만들어지기를 기대합니다. 우리 함께 지속 가능하고 행복한 관광 도시를 만들어 나갑시다. 감사합니다. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yoon. Please take a seat. Thank you. Okay, well, that's a pretty impressive exposition of what's happening in Seoul. But we know, and has already been mentioned, that currently over half of the world's population live in urban areas, and it's estimated that by 2050, that number will reach 70%. So although tourism has become a key economic factor, economic driver for many cities, the growth of urban tourism also brings significant socio-cultural impacts, as well as added pressure on natural resources, on infrastructure, on mobility and congestion. So with that in mind, and after that introduction, I want to turn to the mayors here and the people involved on that basis, the city level people, if you like, to tell me, and if you can be as precise and compact as possible, because we've got a slight shortage of time, I think, now. Tell me, what are the challenges and opportunities of urban tourism for you? And I'll go to you first, Mayor of Dubrovnik.
Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to point out that over-tourism destinations are actually top tourist destinations. They are most wanted tourist destinations. So the key of the success is how to keep them top destinations in the future, because over-tourism as a negative impact definitely means that some tourists are going to leave those destinations, and they are not going to be any more top tourism destinations. So actually, what Dubrovnik, as a small city with 42,000 inhabitants, but with 3 million tourists over the year, has to do is control the tourism and manage the tourism. At first, it seems easy, but with such a small, tiny town, it's not that easy, of course. So what we actually pointed out is two different types of tourists that are coming to Dubrovnik. First of all, those that are staying overnight, and those that are coming for a daily visit. Those that are staying overnight, we just need to keep them informed. Give them the best information, what is the best time to go in the old town. How we did that is we implemented a Respect the City program and Respect the City application, and with that, we are giving you information when is the best time to come in the old city. And if you have maybe overoccupied time between 10 and 12 o'clock, you can immediately give information to tourists. Please come at 4, you will have the best time in the city as you can, and you will enjoy. The second stage is the daily visitors. Daily visitors are mainly cruise ship companies, cruise ship visitors. Last year, we were thinking what to do. If we go just to the one company and say, listen, please don't come on Monday, come on Tuesday, some other company will come on Monday. So actually, we approached to CLIA, World Association of Cruise Ship Companies, and we organized jointly with them all itinerary for Dubrovnik. The time of arrival, the time of departure, with putting the blockade for just 2 cruise ships in the same time. By doing that, we now completely managed tourism, and there is no, for this year, first time, in last 10 years, there is no overcrowdedness in Dubrovnik. So in shortly, this is a short point of Dubrovnik case study.
Now, Dubrovnik is kind of unique in a way because of its geography, isn't it? I mean, it's a problem to try and get more people in there because you physically can't.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you have other cities in Croatia that probably have less tourism. Do you think about trying to, what they call spread the love, take tourists and encourage tourists to go to other parts of the country?
Definitely, of course. There are many beautiful cities in Croatia, but there is very hard to say not to come to Dubrovnik. You know, being a tourist city, you have to be open, and throughout the centuries, Dubrovnik is a world open city. So anyways, on the end of the day, even if they come to our capital Zagreb or maybe Split or Zadar, on the end of the day they will come up in Dubrovnik. So this is the crucial thing for us, is keep them informed, give information to tourists about the best time of arrival in Dubrovnik to have best experience.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn to Paris and the deputy mayor there. What's your view on this? Just again outline for me the opportunities and the problems as you see them.
Well, the two trends that our global city face in the same times are, we are more and more inhabitants, domestic inhabitants in our city, because as you mentioned it, we were 50% of the worldwide population living in a city. There will be 70 to 80% before 2030. So we know more and more our city are crowded by our domestic inhabitants, first trend. Second trend, urban tourism is growing, and so we have to face this double saturation risks. And so maybe one of the best and the biggest challenge we have in the next decade will be how create a seamless city, thanks to innovations, thanks to rules and public regulation, to have less queue, less place where domestic and tourists have to sometimes compete for the use of the city, and it's absolutely impossible to imagine that we will have, in a very short future, a moment where we have to compete between locals and visitors. And this is sometimes what happened on a housing market, for example. So the challenge is for us, how can we still increasing our accommodation capacity? Paris is right now more than 110,000 beds. But how can we increase our accommodation capacity without making the accommodation housing price for the locals getting higher? So this is one of the main issues, for example. How can we welcome more and more tourism without making increased transportation, and especially pollution and air quality issue? It's so a big stake for our citizens. So this is maybe the big challenges. And one is maybe an opportunity as much as a threat. And so maybe it's one of the things we have to work all together, is the issue about authenticity. A lot of the speech in the morning talk about this authenticity, and that's true. Visitors, when they come to urban city the first time, they come for the top 5 sightseeing stuff. In Paris, Eiffel Tower, Champs-Élysées, Montmartre, Musée du Louvre, etc. 5, big 5. And then they come back another time. Not for the heritage, not for the visiting stuff, but for the mood, for being in this city, for feeling the stuff. And so they want authenticity. They want to have this little coffee at the bar like a real Parisian, having a croissant in the morning like a real Parisian. So this is a great opportunity for this economic, this touristic economy to contribute to our local economy and to save what is a big stake in all global city, to save our crafters, local shops, really small shops, bakery, grocery shops, cheese shop, you know, all that is very important for domestic, but sometimes the touristic economy act like a predator of the domestic economy. And so how can we bring the money from the tourists to help saving local shops and industry? So this is a good opportunity, but the threat is how you avoid to, how can I say it, Disneylandize your authenticity. Okay, for example, cheese is a French stuff. How can be sure tomorrow our real cheese shops we want to share with our visitors from all around the world don't become just a fake one, but just a Disneyland event or a Disneyland exhibition. So this is maybe one of the challenges, bringing and offering our authenticity to the world without make it too fake.
Okay. You raised the speech made this morning, and I'm going to bring up the very interesting point that Joseph made, which is about charging to enter into a city centre. I think that's a little bit controversial, and I'll be interested to see what people think about that later. Just one last question as well about that, which is, I mean, a lot of the tourist traffic goes into only 3 or 4 districts, I suspect, and there are other arrondissements, you call them, don't they, don't you, in Paris. How much are you making sure that tourism goes there as well?
And this is what the mayor of Dubrovnik said about the other cities of Croatia. The problem is the visitors, they want to see the Eiffel Tower. They want to go to the Champs-Élysées. Of course, we want, especially for repeaters, visitors, they want to come for another time. Oh, let's discover this new district you don't know. Let's discover the northeast of Paris. It's like a Brooklyn of Paris, because you will find, you know, counterculture, you will find crafters, you will find designers, young people, trendy, hipster districts. Oh, go to see it, and you will maybe more feel the ambience, the mood, than only the sightseeing stuff. But at the end of the day, people, they want to go to see La Joconde at the Louvre Museum and want to see the Eiffel Tower. So spreading the thing is one of the answers. It couldn't be the only one, because at the end of the day, they will go to the other district, but they will go to the sightseeing stuff.
Yeah, you can't change that. You can't change that. Fair enough. Let me turn to your compatriot from Nice. There you are. Hi. Tell me, how much is your situation different to Paris's? What are your challenges and opportunities?
Well, we are a huge destination for tourism like Paris. Of course, we are the 2 cities the most known in the world from France. But we are organizing now tourism on the metropolitan area, not only in the Nice intramuros, but in the metropolitan area. And the metropolitan area is going from the seaside, from the Mediterranean, to the Alps and to the ski resorts. And so we can now offer a different kind of tourism inside the metropolitan area. We encourage it, of course, with a strong policy for easy transportation. For example, if you want to go to a ski resort with 3 meters of fresh snow at 1 hour driving from the seaside, you take a bus and the cost is €1. And like that, the discovery of the metropolitan area is very easy and very convenient. In the same time, we have always to protect the environment and to let imagine to the tourists that life is quiet and that quality of life is high. It's very important for the tourists, but it's also very important for the population. And the interest of the tourists and the population, I think, is the same. What do they need? They need beautiful city, quiet city, sure city, green city, smart city, and what feel the population and the tourists exactly the same.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn to Astana, Kazakhstan. Very different situation, I suspect, very different circumstances, a country that's developing tourism now. Tell me, from your perspective, what are the opportunities and problems?
Thank you very much. На самом деле ситуация в мире одинаковая, потому что, как сегодня уже спикеры говорили, очень важно здесь как бы в развитии туристических потоков есть 2 главных участника. Это город со своей инфраструктурой и мир, который интересуется или должна заинтересоваться этим городом. Что касается развития именно городского туризма, очень здесь важное значение имеют те проекты, глобальные проекты, которые реализует город. В этом смысле в прошлом году у нас прошла, как вы знаете, Экспо 2017, которая очень сильно привлекла внимание мировых туристических центров к нашей столице, Республике Казахстан. Это, конечно, дало большой серьезный импульс для развития туристических кластеров столицы. Думаем, что подобного рода глобальные проекты, которые позиционируют Астану как такой важный, наверное, сектор Центральной Азии, как туристический сектор, они для нас важны, и мы будем это развивать дальше. С другой стороны, развитие города самого, подготовка инфраструктуры города для того, чтобы увеличились туристические потоки, для нас очень важно. В этом плане очень сейчас у нас хорошо, сильно, можно сказать, развиваются проекты, программа Smart City, то есть умного города. Это транспортная логистика, это соответствующая благоприятная инфраструктура в городе. Для того, чтобы развивались именно вот этот сильно развивались эти сегменты, сейчас и городские, столичные программы, и правительственные программы, государственные программы формируются, которые учитывают в первую очередь, конечно, интерес к столице Казахстана, к столице Астане, городу Астане, как именно такому новому, наверное, туристическому центру Центральной Азии. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Let me switch right across the other side of the stage and go to the Vice Mayor of Kazan, in the Russian Federation, a host city during the World Cup, which was a successful World Cup. Tell me, from your perspective, what are the opportunities and problems?
Hello, everybody. Kazan has hosted the World Championship in this year, and as we talked with my colleague just now, I said that 300,000 tourists was visited Kazan just 2 weeks. We hosted 6 matches. It was unforgettable, of course. It's really was a big event for Kazan. But of course, as who visited Kazan, if they know that we have a good experience in such events, because Kazan, not only the third capital of Russia, we have the official title, but we have the official title, the sport capital of Russia. We hosted the Summer Universiade in 2030, and we hosted the Aquatic Championship in 2015, and we have a very good experience in such events. There is not a problem, it's just my opinion. When we hosted the other events, in old TV, just called Kazan, in Summer Universiade, in an aquatic championship. And when we hosted the FIFA World Cup, it was not in Kazan, it was really in Russia. And that's my opinion. And Kazan is just only in their titles, and Kazan. Kazan is a very growing city in tourism, because, for example, 10 years ago we just only 500,000 tourists visited Kazan, and in this year, in November, we will meet out the 3 millionth tourist.
Mostly Russian tourists, or from all over the world?
Sorry?
Mostly Russian tourists, or from all over the world? They come out.
It's all tourists.
Everyone, yeah.
Everywhere, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, this event increased recognition of all over the world. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to summarize from this point of view, let me turn to the World Tourism Cities Federation. And could you tell me, from your perspective, what you see as being the overall problems and opportunities for all cities at the moment, and concisely if possible?
Okay, thank you, distinguished moderator. And actually, I'm delighted to share my ideas. Actually, not belong to me, but also, we just hold a very successful summit in Qingdao, the France. Over 100 destinations come together. We invited them together in Qingdao. And we share also with distinguish, also we discuss the sustainable development goals. And for the opportunity, it goes without we want to see too much about the contribution of the economy. However, beyond the economic dimensions of the sustainable development goals, tourism is also the vital to the culture aspects as well. You know, in this joint publication, the WTCF and with the UNWTO, and we show how the well-designed and managed tourism sector can help preserve the natural and the cultural heritage asset upon which it depends, empower host community, generate the trade opportunity, and also foster the peace and the intercultural understanding. And another one, we're talking about the challenge. The growing number of the people traveling internationally and domestically, it should contribute, another contribution, but not good, contribute to the greenhouse gas emissions, and thus will exacerbate the climatic change. Okay, it's important. That's why the work of the international organization like UNWTO, WTCF, and PATA as well can be so important to enabling the sharing experience and good practice on the sustainable management of the tourism, and especially so in the city. That's
Thank
the
you.
meaning, I see.
Okay, so we're discussing urban growth through tourism. We're looking at the urban agenda, and we've mentioned that the UN agency working for a better urban future has talked about the new urban agenda. And I want to turn to the Regional Office for Asia and Pacific, Mr. Kurosawa, and ask, what do you think? Number one, explain for me at least, what is the new urban agenda? And how can tourism dovetail into that and become sustainable?
Thank you very much. I'm representing another UN agency called United Nations Human Settlement Program, or UN Habitat for short. And Moderator and several previous speakers already mentioned about new urban agenda. But I wonder how many participants and audience today know this new urban agenda.
Hands up.
Please hand up.
Do you know what it means, new urban agenda? Well, I think...
I don't think this is still not well known. So let me explain a little bit and give a context. International community adopted Sustainable Development Goals in 2015. It includes urban goal. It's goal 11 to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. And new urban agenda is a document adopted by international community at the Third World United Nations Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urban Development in 2015. So this new urban agenda embodies the means and goals and targets of SDG and other global agendas such as Paris Agreement and Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction and many others. So this provides how the ideas and means how cities should be developed, planned, designed, governed, and provide space for people. So I like to say that urban tourism is, as you already know, I'm not an expert in this field. It's an important element of the urban sustainable urbanization and sustainable development. So what I like to suggest at this moment is urban tourism should be linked or connected to many SDG and sustainable development goals and the objectives and means of new urban agenda. And I have only a few copies today, and if you want, first come, first served, I can provide.
Maybe you should charge for them and see who's...
But it's available on the internet. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let me turn to the UNWTO and the Executive Director. Mr. Zhu, tell me this. What would you say are the key success factors for a sustainable urban tourism policy?
Okay, Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. I would like to emphasize in following three areas in the development of urban tourism policy. I think first, tourism planning is an important part of the policy because tourism planning must be included in city planning as well as the management of cities. This is the first.
And that isn't done enough, you don't think, at the moment, isn't it? You want more of that, yeah.
Second, I should say, the incorporation of the three pillars of sustainability: economic, social, and environment in the definition in the policy, including indicators and other things should be included. Third, I should say, the governance model that ensures the effective coordination and cooperation among public sectors at all levels. Of course, also between the public sector and private sector, as well as inclusion of the residents and local communities. So, of course, we have many things to say and to do, but those three things, I think, is one of the important factors for the future development of urban tourism policy. This is my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, let's turn to the ministers amongst us here. Now, you are national ministers. Cities aren't necessarily your only priority. I want to come to you first, Elena, Minister of Tourism for Greece. Yesterday, I heard you say Athens was voted the best city. Yeah, fine. I mean, Greece has always been good at tourism. There's no doubt about that. But tell me, how much does your government see the issue of city tourism as being important? How much, and how do you coordinate that with national policies?
Well, first of all, everybody knows that Greece is a very famous tourist destination, and also I have to say it's one of the most wanted tourism destinations. So our policy was to make sure that we will have sustainable growth all over Greece. Greece is a member of Europe, but it's the only country that has all these islands, complex of islands. We really focus in safety, security, and sustainability. So our growth was based in a policy, tourist policy in 5 pillars. Of course, we wanted to extend the season, reinforce the summer season, reinforce the winter season, open up new markets like China, Korea, Middle East, reinforce traditional markets, our European markets, United States, Canada, and Russia. And it was very important for us to introduce new Greek destinations. In that, actually, direction, for us was very important the city break, actually urban tourism. And the last 3 years we work very close with, of course, the municipality, the mayor, and the region, the governor, all the private sector, which is very important for the quality and for the services, which actually for us is very important, value for money. That's why Greece is growing very fast in tourism, and each year, the last 3 years, we had historical records in inbound tourism and also in revenue. And this year, which is the 4th year of our touristic policy, actually we achieved to have, to receive the World Travel Award for Athens as a top city break destination in Europe. And we worked very, very, how can I say, with strategy to achieve that, because of course, as was said from everybody in the panel, the sustainability is very important, and the balance, because you don't want to have only satisfied tourists, but you need to have satisfied residents. And of course, the 3 pillars that we mentioned, economy, social, and environment, has to be in balance. And also, the governments, they have to know that, I'm sure they know, that tourism is a big force for the economic growth of each country. In our country, for example, is the 20% of the GDP, so it's really important.
It's really high,
and creation of jobs, which is something that we really want to achieve. I think each government needs to create more jobs. So it's very important in that case, the tourism education, so to have people with knowledge and skills, and also it's very important and crucial, the infrastructure. So all this balance for each city are very important because we want to grow as well our cruise sector, but we need balance as well for the cruise sector. We manage the same way. Greece has more than 20 ports, so we have a really huge cruise sector, but most destinations that they're very popular, they get sometimes overcrowded. So you manage just to spread through the week, through the months, through the year. So for us, the vision, 365-day destination, that it's our policy, it's very important. And of course, cooperation and coordination from the government. So if we work all together, we definitely can succeed to have growth in all tourism factors, but at the same time, the urban tourism to be able to grow with balanced sustainability.
And certainly the interesting thing about Greece, and certainly Athens, you have a lot of small family businesses, don't you, in tourism? And that's more than I think in other countries, and that changes things a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, this is our important, I would say, advantage, because of course you have the hotels that they can really satisfy even the most demanded tourism, but we want to spoil our tourists. So what we do is all these family business that there are more than 35,000 in all over Greece, and because not of the mega trend, but in Greece everybody comes to have authentic experiences, and each country, I'm sure, has her own beauty, her own magic, and wants to offer this. Our country as well, we want to have really satisfied visitors, but also satisfied residents. So you can offer very beautiful family vacation. Of course, Greece, it's very well known for the warm hospitality, the great food, the great gastronomy, and it's important for the urban tourism in Greece is also the thematic tourism. We have religion tourism, gastronomy tourism, of course cultural. I don't need to say that Greece is the birthplace of democracy, Olympic Games. And
but you're going to say it anyway.
Yeah, well, the most ancient civilization. So
yeah.
That's another very, very strong point for a tourist to come. But still, when he comes, he wants to enjoy beautiful vacation with safety, with security, with things to see and enjoy, and have shopping and entertainment. I mean, the tourists, they want all. So you have to offer them all in a package, but at the same time, to keep the balance, which is very important.
You've certainly got diversity of offer. That's certainly true. And I think Greece is really interesting for that reason. Let me turn to Mongolia, which is a very different kettle of fish, I think, in some ways. Tell me, you're the Minister of Environment and Tourism. What's your strategy now in terms of developing urban tourism? I mean, really, Ulaanbaatar is the biggest city, the only big city, right? Tell me.
Okay, thank you very much. And you know, the Mongolia is a landlocked country in between the two big countries, Russia and China. And also we have a 3 million population, and we have one big city, which is capital city Ulaanbaatar. According to Mongolia, trying to get more income in tourism sector, and we are implementing a few new policy regarding tourism sector. One of the pillar of policy is urban tourism, and we want to develop more urban tourism sector throughout Mongolia, and we want to have a more international airports in other 5 cities. and that will bring more success, and that will avoid overcrowded tourism. Because we have only one international airport, which is bigger one going to operate in next year, and so it will bring more success in urban tourism. Government's level, capital city has a separate policy by law, but the Mongol government general tourism policy will based on more Ulaanbaatar tourism sector. And last few years, Ulaanbaatar city becoming one of the new city which is more focusing on the MICE sector.
For business and
yes.
Yep. Okay, great. I mean, I've been to Mongolia. I think its strengths are outside the cities as well. I mean, it's an astonishing place.
And is there who haven't been in Mongolia? Welcome to Mongolia, especially in Ulaanbaatar. And another thing is, the best thing is in geographically we located in Eurasia, and the weather gives more warmer tourism and less stress in Mongolia, especially in Ubi. And to keep the sustainable tourism sector is to have one common understanding. The government of Mongolia is implementing new understanding policy for tourism sector, how to be all the citizens to serve for tourists. How can we keep the environment friendly, socially, and safe condition for tourists?
And also what is uniquely Mongolian, which is the environment. I think a lot of, you need to preserve that. Let me turn to Thailand. Now, Thailand again, it seems to have come up that you have issues with oh, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. Beg your pardon. Yes, Thailand,
right.
Let's go for that. Come back to you. I knew I'd make a mistake like that, well, at least once. Yes, Thailand has no real problems with numbers, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But how do you, as a government, look at tourism and think about urban tourism?
Urban and country tourism, I think, is very significant for all countries, especially in the Asia and in these regions, because in Asia, people around the world want to touch for the unique and some of the special hospitalities from the people in the east side, and also in each country they have their own culture, they have their own identity. In Thailand also we have our own history for the long time. We in the Southeast Asian region, we are the ASEAN member, but for the urban tourism, we divide into dimension. One dimension as a government sector, we have to set up the strategy. We just declare our 20-year strategy to the public that in the past, for Thailand, we only have short-term and middle-term strategy. In the present time, for the present government, our Prime Minister have a strong policy to let Thailand develop by sustainability with the long-term strategy. That means this 20-year strategy of Thailand, we prepare and we set the track for the future government and for the young generation to follow the track by the government sector, only advice. But in practical, for practice and to doing by the process as a policy activities for the mission, we advise and we support them by budget from the government. We advise them to transform the technologies. We guarantee them as a government sector to support them as a marketing. For the marketing side, we go to bidding, we go to support them to let the event or tech activity attract more activity like UNWTO. Last 4 months, we have host for UNWTO World Summit on gastronomy, for example. For Thailand, I think for urban tourism, we, as a government sector, we have to support them for the strategy, know-how, transfer technology, some of the budget. But for the real sustainable development, I think with the young generation and the local people have to know by themselves, have to run their activity by themselves, have to preserve their knowledge, their local knowledge to be the charm and to be the attractions for the people around the world to visit. For example, for the community around the Royal Thai Palace, they have their own products, they have their own route of the Thai historical route. Like near the Chao Phraya River, they have their own Thai food. Also have a very famous for the Thai street food. We just got the award from the Traveler magazine from we are the best people for the tourism, for example. I think for the sustainable government side, only advice, only give them the good track for the strategy, inject and invest for the budget to let them continue. The main point is the people in the community.
It's the people, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to come to Mario from the CEO of PATA in 1 second. I'm going to return all the way over back to, and I apologize for that, to Malaysia. And tell me, from your perspective, how important is it to encourage urban tourism? I mean, how integral is that to the government attitude to the future?
Thank you, Rajan. I don't blame you to made a mistake. I'm a Malaysian and Thai looks the same. So anyway, I think back to the questions. I think the federal government, Malaysia, I think this is new government. We just about 3 months old government. And we work closely with the state government. I think more on the coordinating the policies among all the states. You know, we set the policy and we work with them to ensure the directions are the same. Specifically on urban tourism development, we engage continuously with the states and we listen to them. We talk to you know, local government, we talk to the civil societies, even to the local communities on how to develop the tourism product for their cities. And I sort of know that there are some problems with every state government. Each one of them, they have the tourism board. Each one of them have tourism organization. They tend to work in silo. They don't really, you know, have central or coordinated efforts. So as Malaysia, as a federal government, we want to make sure that, you know, we go to the same direction. Of course, we will follow, we will get the feedbacks and we come up with the policies and all that. I think we, for example, like Malaysia brand is Malaysia Truly Asia, but not many states have that logo or the brand in the tourism promotion activities. So I think we should coordinate more, and instead of urban tourism, we also have to look at other part of the Malaysia. I think Malaysia is very popular with its arts and culture activities and heritage. We have 4 UNESCO sites in Malaysia, and we should spread, you know, the tourists. We got 26 million tourists in 2017, which draw about 20 billion US dollar in terms of tourism visit. We should spread this to other parts of Malaysia. I think we have some nice, you know, as I mentioned, heritage site. We have historical site in Kedah, in Perak, in Sabah. So I think this is we should bring this together and package it together. Work with the state government, work with the city government to promote this to the world.
Thank you very much. We are very, very short of time, but I wanted to, a couple more things I want to talk about. Mario, I mean, it's going to be a constant theme throughout this conference, over-tourism. It's a buzzword. You know, you could argue that it's just another way of saying congestion, that we need to solve congestion. You know, the media, of which I am part of, we love talking about over-tourism because it's an interesting angle and there's a lot of news about it. Do you think it's exaggerated? Maria, tell me that.
As you know, we've spoke at conferences together before, and PATA started 4 years ago a campaign to encourage cities, states, regions, and countries to actually disperse tourists into secondary and tertiary destinations, either within the city, within the state, within the region, within a country. I'm really pleased I'm sitting next to my compatriot from Thailand. I do live in Thailand, even though I don't look Thai. But Thailand has actually successfully created a campaign, the 12 Hidden Gem of Thailand, which is now 24 Hidden Gem of Thailand, promoting secondary destinations. And tourism numbers in these smaller communities have been starting to grow. As you said, we're spreading the love, but also spreading the economy to communities who actually really deserve and needs it. But more importantly, we're actually dispersing so that we can avoid pressures on infrastructures within the larger city, such as Bangkok and others within the country. I also really appreciate what Mr. Ju mentioned before about tourism planning and capacity planning, which I think is really important. I won't deny that there actually are cities and destinations around the world who actually do suffer from the over-tourism, but very often it is seasonal. Quite often it's actually during periods of the day or for certain times. And I think it's a question of how you disperse them. I also like to recognize and commend the mayor of Seoul for reviving new areas within the cities or old areas and making them new destinations within the city itself. To me, that is one solution. And I'll keep it short because I know we're pressured with time. But I just want to share a personal story. When my wife and I first moved to Bangkok, we took a 9-hour walk around the city. Guided, but we discovered some beautiful gems within the city. Within the larger community of Bangkok, there are actually 5 minority groups or communities that live inside the city that actually most people don't know about. Actually, most of my colleagues in the office didn't even know they existed. But they have their own traditions, their own cultures within the city itself. That is a product. That is a destination in itself for people to go and explore. And I think what we're going to see moving forward is more innovations such as the mayor of Seoul has done in other cities too. You know, recreating neighborhoods. Maybe the neighborhoods have been forgotten in the past and making them a destination in itself. What happens when you do that, maybe you bring art into the place. Interactive displays, use sector technologies, or even use local artists to design murals and sculptures and then move people who shift them towards these different places, either during a period of a day or during time of a month or through festivals. And what happens, the economy starts to change within these neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that might have been considered dangerous in the past, they're actually becoming attractions because little cafes and shops and restaurants are starting to develop in the area. It boosts the economy of the communities and everybody else has a much better life for both the locals and the tourists visiting the cities.
Thank you very much. Now, due to the shortage of time, I think everybody has said something. You've made a lovely presentation. That's all good. I want to, though, throw this final grenade into the ring here, which is the subject that Josie Pines mentioned, which is the likelihood, no, the attraction of charging admission fees to go into city centres. Now, many of you work for government, so you probably don't feel allowed to say anything, pass an opinion, but I would be interested just to go very quickly, yes or no, how likely do you think it is that there will be admission fees charged to enter cities, popular tourism cities in the future? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's likely? Let me just go right across the table. Do you think it's likely? Yes or no?
Есть специфика, потому что есть специализированно организованные городки, культурологические, этнографические и так далее, где, наверное, уместно. А так, в целом, для посещения города есть определенные налоговые, наверное, базы. Они должны, мне кажется, существовать.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm just listening to the translation, which is why I'm just saying. Thank you. Yes or no? You think it's likely? You think it's likely? That's great, thank you. Do you think it's likely? There will be admission charge to get into city centres, okay? Do you think it's likely?
Depends on the locations.
Depends on?
Depends on the attractions. If it's for education, I think we should encourage, nominal fee rather than, high fees.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think it's likely or not? Sorry.
It all depends on different nations.
It's different countries, different things, yep.
Yes, it must be different in cities regarding the policy of tourism.
Okay. Now then, that's interesting. What do you think? Yes, it's inevitable.
Actually, could be, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I could press the...
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could be, depends of the destinations.
Can I just throw this point to you? What about the idea that, hang on a minute, everyone should have the right to go anywhere. You shouldn't be charged. It's not the same as a museum. This is a city centre. This is a place where anyone should go.
Actually, I think that, as before was said, that a top destination wants to be a top destination. I don't think we should forbid tourists to enjoy each city or each country or each destination. The thing is that there have to be rules because, as we said, sometimes we need not only to have the tourists satisfied, but the locals and the residents. So if there, in the future, because I don't think that now exists, a case that you have to be a little bit more cautious about how the tourist will come and enjoy the city, then yes, we should think about it, but it depends on the destination. Yeah. In my country, I think there's so much variety, so much to offer. The mainland, the islands, would be very difficult if you spread through the year the tourism to believe that should be, let's say, something that will cut this increase.
Okay. I mean, as has been mentioned, there are tourism taxes that exist already in certain cities. Hotel
the taxes.
Taxes. Yeah.
Well, the taxes from the other side is when they're coming in.
Yeah.
In some cities, they do pay. And if the cities, they need to, increase and develop and do different things, then I understand that there's some little, let's say, money that tourists should pay, which exists all over Europe anyway.
Yeah.
So again, it depends.
Okay. Very quickly, because I know time is short, do you think it's likely or not likely that there will be admission fees to city centres?
Depends on the situation.
Okay. Very diplomatic answer. Yes or no?
I would say definitely no. And I have to point one more thing. Actually, the #1 figure of sustainable tourism is not tourist. The #1 figure is citizen. And if citizen is satisfied, tourists will be even satisfied within that city.
Thank you. Yes or no?
I think it's a good idea to share the cost between residents and visitors. And it's not a view of our organization, UN Habitat, but personally it could be done, but gradually and starting with a voluntary basis.
Thank you.
Mainly not, firstly because it exists, city taxes on the accommodation in all major cities.
Yep.
And second one, because it's a big danger if we transform our city in theme park. We are not a theme park, we have cities and public spaces.
It would make it a theme park in your opinion. Very good. Maria?
Feasible, yes. Desirable, no. Likely to happen, yes.
That's my kind of answer. I like that. Yes, go on.
Well, the same as Mario is no for the tourists, but yes for the vehicle. Yes.
Okay.
Especially for the traffic.
I understand. Okay. And lastly?
I think yes, because, for example, in Russia we have not the city tax. The city tax is not too much, it's just 1 or 2 euros in Europe. But it must be the law, whereas this money can spend only for the tourism development.
Okay. Okay, so interesting that on the whole, people do think that it's likely to be introduced. The theme park objection will definitely be there. Also, is it regressive? Is it actually against human rights to stop people doing this? Anyway, I'm sure that theme will perhaps continue in the rest of the discussion. I'm sorry it's been cut short, but I think it's for understandable reasons. Enjoy your lunch, and thank you very much. And give a warm round of applause to all our panelists, please. Thank you.
Thank you. We know time was very limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank our moderator, Mr. Rajan, DATAR, and our distinguished group of panelists once again for that very lively and engaging discussion. As Mr. Rajan DATAR mentioned, next is lunch. I have a few housekeeping announcements regarding lunch. For those VIP guests who have been invited to the luncheon hosted by the Korean Tourism Organization, please make your way to the Emerald Hall. Our staff will assist you. And for the other participants, you can enjoy your lunch here in the Dynasty Hall. For those participants with special dietary requirements, they are handing out special menu cards by the water station, so please remember to pick up a menu card. The next session will begin at 2 p.m. In order to no longer be delayed, please be promptly in your seats by 2 o'clock. Thank you very much and enjoy your luncheon.